Am I the butthole for building a fence around my house to keep my in-laws away? Hey Reddit, I 33M need some serious advice because I think I've just thrown a grenade into my family's dynamic. Here's the full story. I've been married to my wife 31F for 3 years now, and while we've had a great relationship for the most part, there's been one issue that's been gnawing at me ever since. We tied the knot. Her parents, don't get me wrong, they're not bad people. They're actually quite nice, in small doses, but ever since we got married, they've taken it upon themselves to constantly show up at our house without any warning. At first, I tried to be understanding. They're close-knit and overly involved, but they mean well, right? I would grit my teeth and endure their visits, even though they were unannounced and at the most inconvenient times. My wife works long hours, so when they show up, I'm usually the one left entertaining them, which takes up my entire weekend. It's not like they stop by for a quick hello. Either they'll sit around for hours, chatting about everything and nothing, while I'm stuck thinking about all the things I need to get done or the relaxing weekend I could have had. I talked to my wife about it multiple times, trying to get her to see how much it was bothering me. I told her how much I value our privacy and that I needed a little bit of peace and quiet, but every time I brought it up, she'd shrug and say, "That's just how they are," or "They mean well, don't take it personally." So basically, I was left to deal with it on my own. The tipping point came about a month ago. I had planned to spend the weekend finishing some projects around the house, enjoying some downtime, and just recharging. But then, like clockwork, my in-laws showed up completely unannounced again. I tried to remain polite, but after hours of forced small talk, I snapped inside. I couldn't take it anymore. My home didn't feel like my space. I felt like a guest in my own house. That night, I started looking for ways to take control of my environment again, and that's when I came up with the idea: build a fence. If they can't just walk in, they'll have to respect our space, right? So, without telling my wife, I hired a contractor to build a big, solid, 6-foot-tall fence around our property. It took about a week to finish, and I was pretty pleased with the result. The fence has a lock and gate, and I made sure to keep the key with me at all times. Fast forward to the next weekend when my in-laws, as expected, tried to drop by. I was inside when I heard the sound of them pulling up, followed by the confused knocks on the gate. They were clearly caught off guard and called my wife, demanding to know why there was suddenly a fence around our house and why my wife had no idea what was going on because, well, I hadn't told her about it. When she confronted me, she was furious. She said I had gone way overboard and that building a fence without discussing it with her was completely out of line. I argued that I had brought up the issue countless times, but she never took me seriously. I was sick of feeling like I had no control over our home, so I took matters into my own hands. I thought it was a reasonable solution to a long-standing problem. Well, it didn't end there. My in-laws are now acting like I've declared war on them. They've told the entire extended family that I'm trying to cut them off and have even accused me of being paranoid and petty. My wife, meanwhile, is still upset, saying I should have handled it differently and that I went behind her back. I get that maybe I should have talked to her before taking such drastic action, but I honestly felt like I had no choice. I needed to set boundaries, and nothing else was working. Now though, I'm left wondering if I made the situation worse. My relationship with my in-laws is strained, my wife is angry, and I feel like the bad guy, even though all I wanted was some peace and privacy in my own home. So, Reddit, am I the butthole for building a fence around my house to keep my in-laws away? Should I have handled this differently, or was I justified in finally setting some boundaries?